Hey friends, this is Coach Ernie from the Trader of Futures, and this video is a retrospective and also a futurist video where I'm going to be looking at Bitcoin, where I started to take a real interest from a analytical and investing perspective, what happened along the line, how I made those calls, and where it's going into the future. One thing that you need to keep in mind that I had previously a very popular YouTube channel, approaching 15,000 subscribers, increasing rapidly like most of the others. And then my identity was stolen in mid-May, and somebody upended my life by deleting my YouTube channel. You may think, well, how does that upend someone's life? Well, I had several businesses that were all wrapped around that YouTube channel with 1,100 videos and about 6 years worth of pretty intensive work. I had developed an interest in Bitcoin last year, mostly because of the misreporting or misunderstanding or just plain ignorance of what the cryptoverse had around futures and Bitcoin futures. As soon as the CME had announced that they were going to introduce futures and bring them to the Bitcoin market, the entire cryptoverse got all up in a bunch and thought that this meant that it would attract institutional money and send Bitcoin to the moon. Of course, I knew better, being a professional futures trader, that this would be the furthest thing from the truth, that futures were in fact, or would be in fact, a tool, a hedging tool of miners and whales and other people that have large interest in Bitcoin. And it would in fact be used as a hedging or a shorting mechanism, and would probably have the effect of maybe stabilizing the price. But what had happened is that the fervor and the excitement grew to a fever pitch. The exponential rise in price attracted all kinds of evil people committed to take advantage of hapless individuals, ignorant individuals, through scams and lending schemes and all sorts of Ponzi schemes and pyramids, which still exist today, including ICOs, which have absolutely no purpose or are of dubious intent, designed and to take advantage of the sleeping security regulators that really didn't step in to stop anything. I think that they were like deer caught in the headlights and allowed ICOs to flourish, and many people to take advantage of many other people who are non-accredited investors and just pump tons, billions and billions of dollars. And to this day, I would say that 98% of all ICOs and coins that are out there, projects, are complete frauds. And I hold that until we really need them to be flushed out. So anyways, along the road to what was approaching a bubble, and before my channel was deleted, I provided a very accurate and concise analysis of Bitcoin right up to that point. Both the rise of the bubble, I called the top. Actually, I said that it would be the introduction of the CME futures that would cap the top, and it did. On the day that it was introduced, that was the top price in Bitcoin. I recognized it as a bubble. I wanted to introduce volumetric analysis to people as a more rational way to look at markets. And then I called every single move down through to the bottom. All documented. Well, most of it was documented on my channel. Some of it is documented on TradingView. On May 15th, somebody stole my identity by compromising my mobile phone from AT&T, and then they were able to use the SMS feature to change my passwords, and they intentionally went in and deleted my YouTube account. That was actually the very first thing that they did. I'm sure, look, I had my share of trolls. There were many people that were upset with me that I was making these calls. They thought that in some way that I was responsible for Bitcoin coming down, when in fact I was just providing objective and experienced analysis. And I was one of just a small handful of people that were providing this analysis, but probably also one of the very few that had developed a significant business around my YouTube channel, not just from this Bitcoin stuff, but from many years back. And so deleting that account and 1,100 videos and the social reach that I had, passive income, the flow of customers, that all abruptly stopped in mid-May. Unfortunately, YouTube, I've been in touch with YouTube all along, and they have been unable to recover my channel. And just a couple of days ago, I got a notice from them that said that they're no longer going to try because they found that it is impossible to recover it. So I had to start anew. I didn't waste any time. As soon as it was deleted, I did what I could to try to get it recovered, but I also started making videos again. And so those are the videos that you see now, and also reflective of starting from scratch. I've got about almost 1,300 subscribers now. I hope to continue on and keep on building. But this is sort of me and Bitcoin going along the route. Now, I had recognized that it was a bubble. I also understand the nature and character of a bubble and the patterns that they produce, and also called those right down, and have said that it looks like we're going to go into about a 2-year bear market, maybe a year and a half. Now, this has been roundly criticized, obviously, and I think that was probably one of the reasons why people wanted to shut me up. But I'm continuing with that stance. And recently I've done some interviews. Did one with a fellow named Jason Plath, who is a very bright fellow, very steeped in the quantitative analysis, has latched onto this Metcalfe theory, although they call it a law. It is hardly a law. That somehow Bitcoin, because of its node connections, will fool everybody, I guess, go against the odds and continue up. Of course, this is all predicated on new money coming in and new nodes or new people being added to the network. I just don't see that right now. I predicted that the SEC would shoot down most of these ETF applications. I still don't see any reason why they would. They just recently shot down the Winklevoss twins Gemini application. There was one dissenting opinion from Hester Pierce. The others simply don't believe that it has risen above the malfeasance that got us to this point. And I expect that to continue. Until we get a complete washout of this industry, until people believe that Bitcoin is dead and that all these altcoins are useless, we're not going to revitalize this market. And I want to, be on the record that I do believe that there is a future for cryptocurrencies as well as distributed ledger technology. I think that right now you'd be hard pressed to find a single executive or C-level folk in any significant company that could tell you how they're going to actually make money and revamp their business model and the culture that their company is built upon to take advantage of these technologies. You might find some private ledgers, and I'm talking about on the public ledger side. You might find some private ledgers where they may find some incidental use of linked lists, crypto-based linked lists. But it's going to be a while before widespread use of a distributed ledger technology takes hold. I think that I speak from experience. I've got about 40 years of technology and financial experience at the highest levels. I understand this technology. I'm not some old fart that doesn't understand this. I understand it explicitly, and I've been a trusted advisor of many of these bigger companies for many, many years. So I know how they think. I know what's important to them. I also understand that this generation, the millennial generation, are dismayed with the current banking culture that we have, or banking environment, the way money operates. They want something different. They think that a distributed or decentralized infrastructure will solve a lot of those problems. I don't disagree, but I disagree that we can simply foist it upon the current system and wash it out. That's not going to happen. There's just no way that the current system is going to allow it, and you need enough, I guess I will use Metcalfe's law in reverse and say you need enough people to be able to stand up against it without any real undue harm. So there's going to need to be some sort of organic adoption of distributed ledger technologies, and also dApps, killer applications that people can't live without, so that they can see the efficacy of Bitcoin. So this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're going to continue moving in a sideways way for at least the foreseeable future, maybe a year and a half out. And we're going to have to experience a significant dip to the point where people really believe that Bitcoin is dead and gone, that altcoins are useless and gone and just a scourge, before they can realize some sort of organic revitalization. Till that happens, and if it doesn't happen, it's just going to be a bigger crash, but there will be a crash. And the sooner the better, actually, so that we can get back onto this road to which I think is an eventuality, a decentralized world. The thing that I think most people are missing is that, and it's kind of a dichotomy or an irony. They want a common decentralized system across the globe, which in effect, like I said, is a dichotomy. It's really one way of doing things. I don't believe that that's going to be the ultimate nature of a decentralized world. I agree with the idea of having moving away from any kind of central authority and distributing and decentralizing that. But I think that you also you can't rely on a centralized or a one-size-fits-all governance model. And the only way that this world is going to work is to have also a decentralized governance model. So that means that based on either geographical location or cultural demographics or other demographics, there's going to have to be governance models that accommodate all of those. And so there's going to be differences in those ledgers and cryptocurrencies to fit those needs. That would be a truly decentralized vision. But nobody's looking at that. And I believe that that is what we need going into the future. The other thing I'm really, and part of the reason why I see this too, is I look at a one-size-fits-all and trying to create this sort of global agreement on regulatory issues and blanket regulatory enforcement, is that we're taking away the humanity behind peer-to-peer transfer of value by injecting a one-size big black wall between us and the other guy. And I know a lot of people will argue, well, we're already heading down that road, and I agree. And it has not been a positive experience. It's been nothing but a negative experience, that we have lost our humanity, that we lost that social interaction with other people. And I think that instituting something like a one-size-fits-all cryptocurrency across the world will just exacerbate that problem. And that's one of the things that needs to be worked out, and I think it can be worked out and solved in a decentralized governance model. So that's my prediction for the future. And again, I don't think that that's going to be a realization until we can wipe out the current scourge. I don't know if scourge is the right word. The leeches, maybe leeches is the best word, that are currently holding and holding people into this market. So that's all I've got to say. I'd love to hear what you have to say down below. Please subscribe to my channel. I want to grow this, and I want to be part of this, what would be an eventual revolution. I look at it as more of an evolution now. The revolution happened a while ago, the idea, the spirit. But now it needs to be refined and grown and evolve. We'll see you next video.